falling from the sky. Death is creeping, swallowing all in sight. People are weeping.
Hey, Mike. Hey, Dean. We got an extra head here on this screen tonight.
Hello, everybody.
Well, I'm always in favor of extra head.
And here we go. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome to the Pop Culture SquadCast Live. Dino, did you notice that you are in the intro? I don't know if you've ever seen the full intro. The new you're in the full.
I did. I actually did, and I think I'm showing like a piece of art or something like that.
You are.
Which I thought was really cool. Thank you for adding me to that.
Yeah, absolutely. We're gonna like, if you grew up in the tri-state area and you were a completely vanilla kid in the 80s, we're gonna do something, or 90s, something called Flush the format, which means our normal format is Mike and I sitting here doing our opening dialogue. We're going to call it an opening trialogue because we're going to talk to Dino, and then we're going to have this guest join us a little bit think who's got a Kickstarter. So let's talk about some stuff. I
feel like Sabrina Carpenter right now.
Why? I don't understand.
She was the guest host and the guest musical act on SNL on Saturday.
Bad Bunny did that too.
Bad Bunny did that too. That's true.
So let's talk about the big thing, which is Baltimore Comic-Con this past weekend. And I want to start with you, Dean, as someone who was at New York Comic-Con the weekend before, and you were at Baltimore Comic-Con this weekend, presenting in both, set up in both places. What was your opinion?
Between the two conventions, how I felt?
Well, just how did you like Baltimore? And if you want to compare and contrast, feel free.
Sure. I always love Baltimore Comic-Con. It's my favorite show of the year. It's also because it's very, like, we call it our comics family, our comics Thanksgiving of sorts, Mark Nathan and Shelley Nathan and Brad Tree and Randy and the whole Baltimore Comic-Con crew have been taking care of me for 24 years, I believe. I've been going there, except I might have missed 1 year. And so I feel lucky and privileged and honored to get those kinds of perks, but also, it's not like I just walk in and I get, to lay in a hammock and have my, toenails painted or anything like that. We do the work, I make artwork for the annual, the yearbook that they do, where they do this great thing where they, celebrate an independent cartoonist with their characters. They get a whole bunch of other cartoonists to draw something for that book, and then I do panels and, I help promote the show as well. So it is a give and take, but out of all the give and takes that we all do in comics, I feel like the best is Baltimore Comic-Con for me in my relationships with cons. And I love a lot of the smaller shows these days. The bigger shows get a little bit unwieldy,
Well, the thing about it, Baltimore, is that it's not a small show.
It's not. And when I was thinking small show, I was going to say and actually SPX isn't necessarily a small show either, but I'm thinking of like the newer ones that are popping up, like the one in Kingston or the one, IC3 Independent Creators Comic-Con, they are smaller in a lot of ways, or newer at least. And, the established shows, they keep evolving and whatnot. Like, I'm not going to bash New York Comic-Con, but like, it's just a harder place to try to sell comics at, and it's more akin, I think, to San Diego Comic-Con, where it's definitely more celebrity, pop culture focused than it is comics, whereas I think Baltimore still feels like it celebrates comics, where you can see and meet Ron Wilson, who drew Marvel 2-in-1 in the 70s and 80s.
And you can get a really cool thing piece from him.
The best.
So, Mike, how was your
agree with everything Dean has said thus far.
They had you working hard.
Might be, a first. Yes, I did. I did a lot of panels, 6 of them, but each in 2-panel clusters. So, over the course of 2 days, not 3, which is kind of fun. I mean, I used to do that a lot, but uh, you know, nobody wants to listen to me babble that much, except for the folks in Baltimore. So I love Baltimore. Wonderful con. My favorite con by far, because it hasn't become a clusterfuck. Partially because the convention center is of decent size, but also because it is extremely well run, extremely well managed, knowledgeable people who understand not just comics, which is important, but what comics fans are all about, and that's a wide variety of stuff, and they get it. So I love that show. I've been there, I don't know, 10, 15 times, somewhere around there. They've treated me quite nicely. I'm still drinking their water. God knows. Jeez. So it's like WaterCon. Every time you turn around, here's some water.
You need it. It's a lot of walking.
It is. It is.
No, anybody who's in the comments, you want to say, if you were at Baltimore, tell us what you think. But one of the things two things I want to touch on from my experience. Well, first of all, my feet have finally recovered. I did a whole bunch. I did like 9 panels in 3 days, and they were all excellent. I do a lot of prep work, and it never feels like enough. And every time I get up there and I start the panel, I'm terrified that I'm not going to have enough to say, and it's going to go sideways. And it always works out. And they were all great. I had not a bad panel at all. I even had to wrangle Mark Waid a little bit because he was getting a little in there, but it worked out well. But
Mark is a pleasure.
He started editing the panel in the middle of it, but it was all good. It was all in good thoughts.
Honestly, Bob, like, you'd be surprised. I think we worry, and I've moderated panels as well, and you can worry that, you're going to deal with 4 or 5 introverts that are too shy to talk, and then you literally say hello and the floodgates open.
Sure. I mean, there's that. Comic people like to talk.
Yeah.
The one panel that I did not do any prep work before at all was the one that I shared with Mike Grell, a friend for 49 years. And what was weird this year was I had just done the Peter David tribute panel, which was very nice. And I had done the Jim Shooter panel, tribute to Jim Shooter panel, which was equally nice. So I was able to start the Grell panel by turning to him and saying, "Why are you still alive?"
Well, I'm glad it wasn't a tribute panel to him. Thank you. We're fine. It's not a great year, but I saw him on Sunday, and we talked a little bit, and he looked good, and he looked, healthy and ready to go. We're going to schedule something with him maybe next month, so he might be on the show. So that's
that'd be great. Yeah,
it's interesting. You said it's interesting that you asked why are you still alive versus how are you still alive.
I know how they gave him a new heart or something. They repaired his heart and fixed it up, put in some gizmos. I don't.
This is for real. He had a heart thing.
Yeah. He had some heart work done. Yeah.
Oh wow, heart work.
Yeah. I think a valve. I think it was a valve. But he's and he had some other. He had a bunch of stuff. Mike's had some issues over the past 12 months, but over the past 3 to 4, he's really kind of recovered and well back. And I was so glad that he was here. Two other real quick things about it, and this is good. I feel like, and I talked to you about it, Tino, but feels like it was good financially for the creators. At least it wasn't bad. And my meter on it, if people are unhappy, that's bad. if people are like, it was okay, okay is good in my book, because this is you can never count on things. But I feel like some people had really good shows. I know some people had really good shows, but I think most people had okay, at least, shows. I know that I spoke to one of the people who run one of the artists agents group of
Mhm.
people, and it was the first time they had been to the show, and they can't wait to come back.
To Baltimore, you mean?
Yeah, to Baltimore.
Because I also saw there were like a slew of tables at New York Comic Con that had agents and everything. And when I would talk to certain artists, they would ask me, "Hey, how are you doing at this show?" And we're talking about New York Comic Con, and I was doing less than I anticipated, and I couldn't figure it out. Is because am I sharing, half, I'm getting 3 feet of a 6 foot table, and it gets so packed, in Artist Alley near Comic Con that you literally could look that way for 1 second away from my table as you're walking by and never see me. And I don't have giant signs, I don't have billboards or anything like that. It's kind of like akin to that, the people making cars at the conveyor belt, and someone drops their wrench for a second and 6 cars have gone by, like
Yeah,
that kind of a thing. So, and in the one hand, that's awesome. It means so many people are showing up and checking out Artist Alley, which is its own Comic Con, at New York. I never got to the show floor once, I didn't get to see Bill Sienkiewicz or the people like that who are up there, or some of the book publishers. And I actually barely got to see a lot of the people that were in Artist Alley. But when I did sneak out for like 10 minutes here or there, they were asking me how I was doing, because the ones who I thought would be killing it were not doing as well. And I don't know if it's because of many factors, i.e., the world is crumbling right now and people need to save money. I don't know if it's because he spends like $95 to walk in for a day, and then
Is that true? $95?
Somebody told me that it was like that expensive to try to
I think
if they even
Saturday.
have
I think
tickets.
on Saturday he's right. I think it's very expensive.
Jeez, you
They're
can go to like a
spending
baseball game for that.
Yeah, right. Well, so wait, really, baseball games cost that much money? Oh, I haven't been to one in a long time. Anyway,
No, me neither.
yeah. Sorry. At the end of the day, when you're doing the business side of comics, then you're trying to make money and make your money back. And
Yeah.
luckily, I live in New York, so I take the train, to Javits
Yeah.
Center.
I mean, again, yeah, it's huge. Imagine, and the thing, well, I don't want to get into I don't want to do the New York bashing, but ultimately, you had back-to-back weekends. You ended on a good note, and we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, yeah.
The last thing that I wanted to bring up was I happened to be watching another YouTube show earlier today, the Prana marketing or whatever they do, Adam Freeman's show, and I think it was the first time some of the people had been to Baltimore or in a long time. And one of the things that they mentioned, and what I loved to hear, was the family aspect. And we're all of us are kind of in close to the inner circle of the show, but to hear other people talk about it as family, and it very much feels that way. It's like everybody kind of there's a camaraderie amongst creators, amongst vendors, and people who run the show.
I have a thought because of what you just said. I was thinking about sitting next to Sean Von Gorman at the Ringos.
Sure.
And then they announced, for best new comic or whatever the award was the Pedestrian, which he co-created and illustrated with Joey Esposito. And being able to sit next to him and see that moment of joy, being, acknowledged and validated. And we all know awards can be silly or whatever. Thank God Chip Kidd was there because he was hilarious, with Charlie Kochman telling jokes. But like I started thinking about the term passing the baton,
Sure.
Chaikin and Simonson are my mentors in a lot of ways. And they've kind of like have passed a certain kind of baton to me, and in a way not that I've mentored Sean Von Gorman, but I've answered a lot of questions, and helped
Oh, he would
acknowledge him.
he acknowledges what you've which you've meant to him.
But
And
that's what I mean, like the family aspect. That you say inner circle, and sure, there is something of an inner circle, but it does spread wide.
sure,
Like I've been offered a table, luckily, every year for many, many years, but I come with quote a posse, whatever that posse looks like every year, and it changes,
sure,
And really, what I'm doing is I'm just getting more new folks, or trying to get them established if they can do it and want to be there, and Baltimore allows me to do that, and so they're a part of it as well in that way. And it's a
You
beautiful
just
thing. I don't get that from other shows.
you just fixated on the reason why I love this field so much. We are prone to move towards that sort of family environment. The first generation, they were like 14 to 20 when they came into comics back in the 30s. Second generation came in just shortly thereafter. It was pretty small. Third generation was the first true post Wortham generation. And I'm probably at the younger end of that one, maybe. Fourth generation, that's you. Fifth generation, that's your problem. And I mean, it's my problem too, because I work with those folks, with the younger folks. But you'll be around for that sixth generation. I won't, and I envy you, because welcoming more people into the family gives you a very good feeling.
And it's not about gatekeeping.
no,
I'm wary of that term in comics, because really you just have to make a comic to be in comics, just like you just have to play guitar to be a guitar player, or write a page
sure,
of dialogue to be, what I'm saying? Like, well, who's stopping anyone from making comics? Maybe if you're trying to make a Marvel DC comic, then there's editorial, obviously, auditioning and oversight and everything else. But anybody and everybody does make comics today. Just look at
and
Instagram alone.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
let's be, we're very supportive of it here. In a little bit, we're going to bring in our guest who has a Kickstarter going on, making comics, self-publishing. And I mean, look at some of the Ringo Award winners. I mean, granted, there were a couple of DC things that won, but also, you mentioned Sean and Joey's The Pedestrian, which was published by Magma Comics, which I don't know, but they were independent and searched around for somebody to publish their book, and they did, and they won. And the best anthology was Transphoria by Lifeline Comics, and Kat and Phil are going to be on the show next week, and we're going to talk about their latest Kickstarter.
Great.
And then the best humor comic was Smut, which was published by Wells Thompson, and Wells is going to be on a show the week after that, talking
Sweet.
about his latest Kickstarter. And that's how we're doing it these days, and we're
Well,
getting
how
great
can
stuff.
how can you not vote for Smut?
I
Sure.
know. It sells itself.
It sells itself.
Well, I mean, I do have several copies of different Smut peddlers, so there's that too.
Right. I remember that.
Yeah. But I mean, I think we've all agreed that this was a very successful weekend. We're looking forward to it next year. Also, I just want to one last note. One of the things that, and we're thankful. My wife and I are very thankful to Hero Initiative for them having us there in certain ways, and the work that we do to try and raise money for creators who need it. And they had a great presence this year. Like I felt it was at their booth, they brought in a bunch of creators who they don't normally bring in. It wasn't the same old, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but it was like they brought in Mike Norton, they brought in Aaron Campbell, they brought in Brian Haberlin, different people that don't normally even come to Baltimore, but also don't necessarily come with Hero Initiative. So
I got Paul Pope to come.
sure.
I don't remember the last time he was there.
I've never seen him there.
I was going to say what's also beautiful about Baltimore Comic Con, and I mentioned Mark Nathan earlier, who's the head honcho, the visionary, who understands everything we've been talking about. Like, he's the guy that figures that stuff out, and you get a good cross between the young and the old, celebrating and the veterans of comics while welcoming the rookies, as it were. But
Yep.
also he makes himself available that you could go sit with him at the bar area and hang out. And like I had a moment with him where I won't get into the details of it, but he was telling me a story about Charles Schultz that had us both weeping, because of what he was telling me, something that was like truly heartbreaking and beautiful at the same time. And like he's starting to cry. I can't handle it. My pal Dan Goldman is walking over just to buy us a drink, and suddenly he's like, "What have I just walked into?"
Sure.
Yeah.
But you can have moments like that with the guy who is the chief of the show, and that's very rare for shows that size to have that kind of access because
Sure.
he cares.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
And there's no reason why you couldn't, having run big shows thousands of years ago. By the time you're at the bar during the show, at the end of a long day, nothing you can do about the problems. Be yourself, go out there. And Nathan does that. And
I
very
see
few
Brad
others do.
Tree. Brad Tree's at the bar asking me what I want to drink. He was into some Kahlua thing. I think he was getting his sugar that way. And he's putting out fires on his phone
Yeah.
while ordering, like doing two things at the same time, like
Sure.
it's incredible.
I wanted, before we bring in our guest, I want to talk about just something else that kind of has come up. It came out of New York Comic Con. We touched on it last week, but some comic news roundup stuff we wanted to talk about is the DC has announced the return of Vertigo, and they announced it a few months ago, and there were some things, but we've kind of gotten a better handle on what's going to happen. And I wanted to talk about that a little bit, because I think I'm excited. I mean, I know you're a veteran. You've had stuff published under Vertigo back in the day.
I had 3 graphic novels that
Yeah.
were published at Vertigo, and they were more, semi-autobiographical for, to condense the 3 things I did.
I'm just saying.
But I always wanted to do a Dean Haspiel Vertigo comic, whatever the hell that would be at Vertigo.
I'm just saying you should talk to Chris Conroy. But
who would draw it? Who would write it?
Oh, I'd have to rope somebody in, man. I'd have to.
So, one of the things that
can I tell you a quick funny thing? And I don't mind saying this, but I've known Moby, the singer, songwriter, DJ, for many, many, many years. And at one point, I think it's okay to say this, but he does lots of different things. He's a Renaissance man, actually. And he was starting to write graphic novels, and he asked me to consult. And so I was helping him a little bit here and there. And at one point he said, "Wait, you actually draw the comics that that has your name on his illustration?" I was like, "Why would you think otherwise?" He thought I hired out artists and then put my name on top of it.
No.
I thought that was
we don't
like,
do that.
What am I, Gustavi? Like that was so weird. And then I thought, well, maybe that's how he thinks. Like, it's in a way, it's like, or sampling or something, because he's known for doing that. And I just thought, you didn't know that so he knew, he also knows Jonathan Ames, and we did The Alcoholic together. Sure. And he thought that even though I'm listed as the artist, that I clearly must have hired out and had people draw it for. And I was like, with what money, first of all?
Yeah, really.
Anyway, it was strange. But
that is good. That is good.
I mean, sure, Chaykin needs some extra work. What the hell? Throw him a few pages.
I should throw Chaykin a bone. That would be cool, man. To collaborate with Chaykin, what would that be like?
I have been waiting for that since the olden days.
Wow. Yeah.
Since you were a mere child.
A mere pup.
A mere pup.
I mean, Howard is also a veteran of Vertigo, so there you go.
True.
I've had my stuff reprinted by Vertigo, so I'm a veteran once removed.
That's fair. That's fair. The way it's going to work is that the mature reader stories that are involving existing DC characters are still going to be under Black Label. So the Black Label imprint will continue. Vertigo will be only original creator participant comic series. So meaning I don't know what the deal is. I don't know how it works, but I do know that the creative team has some stake in the property that they're creating, that it's original to them, and that's what's going to be at Vertigo. They're also going to be longer. They're not going to be like, my understanding is it's not only set to be just a one shot thing or one like there's hoping for room to be longer form, or at least ongoing.
They're not shooting for that 5 to 6 book.
Well, I think they're going to try and do it in arcs so that they can collect them. But
right, but nowadays almost everybody is doing 5 to 6 issues, which is fine. I mean, it used to be everybody was doing 1 issue, but now that we have so many stories that are all 5, 6 issues and then 5, 6 issues, Ahoy Comics, for example, it's just become so routine that I want to see something extra now. I want to see something different.
I feel like comics at Vertigo, at least when I remember, would run a series could go like 60 some odd issues, right?
Well, it could.
And you get your 5 volumes or whatever it is you're talking about, and feel substantial story here. And so, that's, like Scalped or Preacher, 100 Bullets, which I think is also coming back. It looks like
it is
on this
coming
docket.
back.
But stuff like that, and then Fable, Sandman, all that stuff. And then I'm wondering if the current model is more akin to like a British TV series where it's like 3 or 4 episodes, and if it does well, they'll do another 3 or 4 episodes.
Well, I think the way it's supposed to work is there's definitely going to be at least 6 issues, I think, for each one, and then if it falls flat on its face, I mean, there may be a change, but like I don't think that's anybody's planned it for being that small. We had a conversation with one of the creators, Mike and I did, and we'll add that to the stage. So, A Walking Shadow is Cy Spurrier and Aaron Campbell's book, and we got to see a little bit of the art, so it looks really cool. There's this concept of this boat on wheels, and let me tell you, it's a little freaky. We're excited for this one. I mean, I don't know about you, Mike, but I can't wait to see more of this one.
I'm excited to see more of the colorists work, quite frankly. That's a wonderful cover.
Yeah, that cover is great.
That cover is just spectacular.
That looks like a novel. Like if you were to buy a novel, that would be the cover.
And
but they don't sell novels anymore.
No,
it's easier to find a comic book than it is to find, other than the top 20 New York Times bestsellers. It's easier to find a comic book than to find a novel.
Also, shots fired. I think when I go to a bookstore and you see that table with the new stuff, most covers are so awful. It's like a crappy font with 2 splashes of color or something. And like that was actually a cover with a concept, or alluding to something,
Oh yeah, it's terrifying.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, all the covers that they've shown are definitely intriguing and make you want to get to them. I'm looking forward to whether
there's an important difference here. In comics, the covers tend to be done as an artistic statement, whereas in much of the rest of the publishing world, covers are there as a sales tool.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not saying one is better than the other, because if you don't have a good sales tool, nobody's going to read your fantastic story that's inside.
Right.
So that it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just that we seem to have broader artistic opportunities than the book publishing world.
But book publishing used to inspire cartoonists like Howard Chaykin. Like they were incredible, and like if the pulp novels alone had incredible artwork, and you'd be like, I want to do that on my comic somehow, Like
the pulp
now it's generic. It feels like it's super generic, like a lot of the stuff I see.
I'm going to save you from a hysterical phone call. The pulp novels did not inspire Howard.
Oh, that's true.
He's been very anti-pulp throughout his career, which is a lot of shadow comics, but okay.
Sure.
I do want to talk about covers a little bit because one of my panels was about that. And we'll talk about that with our guest later. Dean, I want to thank you for being here for our opening dialogue and
Thanks,
and
guys.
trialogue. And we'll see you soon. Okay. All right.
Peace.
Thanks.
I will count the minutes.
All right. So now I want to bring in our guest. We have a truly special guest, a true Renaissance man and an auteur of the highest degree. He's been here before, and we welcome back to the show, Dean Haspiel. Hey, Dean, how are you?
Talk about deep cuts. There's some old stuff in there, man. Oh my
Listen,
god.
you have produced fantastic comics for quite some time now.
Didn't we give you enough time to change your shirt?
Or
Listen,
just take it
I
off.
want to hang on. We're gonna get to shirts soon enough.
Okay.
I want to talk about. Let's talk about the Kickstarter because that's happening right now, and I want to get on there. Antimatter is funding. Tell us about it.
Okay, so Antimatter. Well, what the next? I've done 4 Kickstarters, and I basically quit comics in 2023 so I could make my own comics and stop. I got allergic to pitching to publishers. Okay, and I decided let me just try to do what a lot of other people have been doing around me and see if I can be a self-publisher, which is really difficult, of course. Not easy. And I also don't like the business of comics, to be honest. But that's what I elected to try out. And so I published COVID Cop, was my first comic, which was kind of polarizing, but also intriguing, I think, for a lot of people on the heels of, there being a vaccine that a lot of people were using to combat, the virus and getting kind of back to, quote, normal, though we've never gotten back to normal, whatever that even means. And then I published a Billy Dogma and Jane Legit comic. After that was a Red Hook comic that features a version of me in a speculative memoir type comic, and then Chestface. So I have these 4 characters that I put out there, kind of like, as I call it, my personal pantheon of protagonists and paramours.
Wow, that was
and this is my little universe that I've been building, right? So the 5th Kickstarter was going to be a sequel to COVID Cop called COVID Cop Insurrection, okay? And it's something I wrote 2 years ago, and when I went to start drawing it recently, usually what happens is you read the script, you got to tweak it here and there. I had to change nothing. There was nothing to change. And it actually gets crazier as the story evolves, the COVID Cop story. But then I thought, well, am I going to, because I was giving out a variety of different characters and comics and stories, now that I'm kind of returning back to one character, is it smart to just double down and only do that? And I might lose, some of my backers because maybe they got them, they're like, eh. So I was like, well, why don't I instead feature this story, COVID Cop Insurrection, in an umbrella title, and then also create stories. And this is all brand new material. Some people are asking, is this collecting the first 4? There's nothing being collected here right now. This is all new stuff. Why don't I dole out like different stories at different sizes in under one umbrella title, my universe, as it were, and it was inspired somewhat by one of my favorite comics, which is Daniel Clow's 8 Ball, which was a one-man anthology. Who he wrote and drew different kinds of stories. He even serialized some stories like Ghost World, okay, that got collected out of that and turned into a movie. And I thought about Adrian Tominay's Optic Nerve, or Jessica Abel's Art Babe, or like Don Simpson's Bizarre Heroes. I would have mentioned something like 11 Rockets, but that's a two-man anthology. And it used to be a three-man anthology when it began. And, I've done two-man anthologies with my buddy Josh Ufel for Keyhole, and we may do it again. So I was struggling to come up with a title that would knit this together, and I couldn't come up with anything. I kept thinking Kirby Crackle. Like, what if Jack Kirby owned all his characters, right? And like you could pick up a Jack Kirby comic that had like Mr. Miracle, Big Barda, The Thing, and Captain Victory, either as separate stories or crossing over into each other's stories or something like that. So I kept thinking about Kirby Crackle, and I was like, oh, wait, antimatter. Like, why don't I just...
It's not the back matter, it's the antimatter. You can even change it. It's not the back matter, it's the antimatter.
It's the antimatter. So, I and then I was asking people, I was test running it. I was like, what do you think of this title, Antimatter? Because like I said, I actually had some other choices, and they're like, oh, no, that's a cool title. That's weird. That sticks out. That kind of pops. It's interesting. There's it is a reaction between matter and antimatter, creating some kind of an explosion. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to call it that, and hopefully I won't confuse people. I don't know.
No, I love it. I think it's a great title.
It is a phenomenal title. Also, it would take me maybe seconds to Photoshop that logo into Antifa matter.
Ah, that's right. That's right.
But I mean, and there's that. But I want to talk about the fact that we got just past halfway on the thing, but you are 92% funded at this point. And I will make a pledge to anybody watching and anybody who wants to share this, that if we can get to the goal tonight on this show, Dean will take his shirt off. I guarantee
I will do that.
For the masses. That would be our last broadcast, though.
No, it's legal.
How do you follow that?
And why would you follow? Not only remember you're saying why about my
why
will,
are you
and I was like,
alive?
where's the how?
Right.
Now we found the how, and then we'd be asking the why.
I mean, but I want to.
So
talk
anyway,
about,
so what? And then we got AI Joe.
Yeah, let's
was
talk
a character
about AI.
that
Isn't this his debut? Is he's?
So it's not the debut. This is the one thing that technically is, quote, a reprint. And I asked the publisher of SHP Comics, and I got to tell you something that happened to me on Instagram. Okay. Remind me to tell you that. So AI Joe is a character that I invented for a comic called Erotech, ERO Tech, and then they were doing an anthology title called Tales from Erotech. And he asked me to contribute like an 8-page story, and I was sitting there struggling, thinking about what do I want to do? What do I do? And I've always been haunted by the very first page of OMAC #1, One Man Army Corps by Jack Kirby.
Here, and this is your reinterpretation, and it has always been terrifying.
It's always been so. The splash page is basically a box of women parts. It's called Build a Friend.
I don't know how. Like I once asked Mike, how did he get to publish any Wasteland after issue 1? I don't know how that. I still don't know to this day how that got past anybody.
Because DC didn't publish it.
No, what? The OMAC?
No, the AI Joe.
No, I meant the OMAC #1, which is he's I'll bring up the screen. But
if you pull up the splash, if you can find it, you'll see what I'm paying homage to. And then in this case, he's AI Joe, Artificial Intelligence Joe, which, by the way, I couldn't believe nobody had taken that name already. I was just like, why was it just sitting there? So I was happy to find out.
Trademarked. Why isn't there a TM on there?
I know. I got it. Well, it's mine. Go fight me. Go ahead. I drew it and wrote it. It's already been published. And so I wrote this story, and then the publisher asked me to do more. and they're publishing the 5-issue miniseries of Aerotech, and there'll be 2-page backup of AI Joe as my secondary story. And then I have plans for a third story and more. So this first Origin debut will also be in Antimatter, because the publisher allowed me to do that because he wants all ships to rise in the tide, as it were. So if you didn't get the, the anthology, you'll get it, their anthology, you'll get it through my anthology, So I'm having fun with this character who also I ripped off basically the top of his costume from a Jack Kirby What If Captain America. Was a very Western looking guy. But then I gave him, that if it looks a little familiar, that's where I was inspired by.
It's the scarf.
No, the scarf was mine, but that like the way the chest is designed.
Yeah, no, I totally saw that. I knew what you're talking about.
But and the shoulder stance, it's what amazes me about this piece is that you have at least 3, 4, 5 different shades of red overlapping.
Oh yeah, actually, you know what's funny? It's only two or three, but it looks like it. And by the way, I have not shown you the bottom of this splash page because of where the other parts that are available.
Well, that's fine. We're looking forward to it. We're gonna listen. We're backing it. We're gonna get it. But no, this is the page you were talking about, right?
No. Oh no, it's actually the very first.
Yeah, I don't have it
while we're talking.
But this is part of it.
Let me try to see if I can get you the page real quick while we're talking. But I had a thing happen with Instagram and SHP Comics, which really pissed me off, and it's actually hurting me. I'll tell you about it in 1 second. AirTag. So and I'm finding the page right now. Hold on. Reference. Here we go. And this page, when you see it, which was published at DC Comics, it's all good, but what it evokes is incredible. Okay, I've sent it to you.
Okay, we'll talk about it in a second. I want to talk about something else first. Hang on a second.
All right, here I'm sending it now. All right. So what I was going to say is they did this thing on Instagram where you can collaborate, right? Well, someone will put a post up, and then they'll want you to be a part of it, so you both posted it, right? So while they were campaigning SHP Comics, while they were campaigning Tales from Aerotech, which my AI Joe story is in, they made me a collaborator a few times. But when they showed some of the, this quote sexual content, they censored it, right? They put censor bars everywhere, and I could show you this. So I was always like, fine, click, I don't care. And after 3 of those were posted, Instagram kind of shut me down and made me look like I was like some, putting porn up, which again, I don't care, but I respect that that's not their site. And I was like, no, all I was doing is accepting a collaboration thing and letting the publisher put it up. And I was attached to it because I was trying to help sell it. And then they made it so I can't do any live streaming at all. And part of the successes I've had with my Kickstarters have been when I've been able to just hop online and talk live, and I've had lots of good, where you're engaging with readers and fans, and they've disabled my ability till October 2026, 1 year.
Did you appeal?
I tried to appeal it, and they're like, sorry, no. And like, there's no human being to talk to. There's no one to write. You just use their automated 5 different things. You can say what it is or isn't, and that's it. You're done.
I mean, that's I'm sorry, Dean. That's really shitty. But this is it is also the never-ending conversation. It's at the heart of our panel from Sunday. How do we engage? What are the tools that we can take advantage of, and who's in our way?
Right.
To get the word out.
But guess what else is happening at the same time? No. Well, and you have your friends who can help. I've had a lot of, I'm not shy to ask for help. So I've asked a bunch of people, and like you guys you're helping me promote this. So other people can get the word out, because I'm only using social media. That's all I got,
Yeah.
But then the other thing happened is and I won't get too much into it because I spoke to Sam Cusick, who is the comics guy at Kickstarter, and I
Sure.
wrote to the CEO on Sam's behalf because they are on strike. But I didn't know that they were on strike until I pulled the trigger on my Kickstarter to then find out, oh no, sorry, that's not true. It was a day and a half before I was going to pull the trigger, and Sam wrote an email saying, "Hey, we're on strike. The employees are on strike at Kickstarter." So I was like, "Oh, wait, why?" And then I found out, and I was like, "Okay, well, I'll support you." And he asked me to write the CEO, and I did. And like 15 minutes later, the CEO wrote me back, saying, "Thank you. I've been getting slammed all week by everybody, but at least you were kind about it," kind of thing. And I was kind about it, but also firm. Like,
I mean,
hey,
everybody. Yeah, sure. I mean,
but it
if
means I've lost all support. There is no Kickstarter support. There is no like, oh, that little button they give you as a campaign to look out for. There's no tweets. There's nothing coming from Kickstarter. I can't use the Instagram Live anymore. So I'm doing the best I can, and it's a little hard.
yeah, I agree.
Well,
sorry.
we do need more tools out there. And as comics and other media go sort of direct from creator to consumer, and that's quite a trend, but it's a slow trend over the past decade or two. We need more tools. Now, social media is an all-encompassing phrase. So maybe the new tools will be called social media as well, or in my case, anti-social media. Danny, of course, asked me to do something for him in Baltimore, and I did. And hopefully, before the end of this SquadCast, I will be able to reveal what I did for Danny Fingeroff.
Danny.
Thank you, Danny.
Yeah, thanks, Danny, for watching. I want to take a second, and I want to point this out. I freaking love this cover.
Thank you.
I do. I mean, we kind of had the top part of it showing on the banner earlier, and that's but it was not fair to Chestface to not get him in the picture. I think this is perfect. It is perfect for what this book is, and I think that I'm really excited to get it.
Oh, thank you.
This what Danny's very excited. What I you have all of this Dean verse, Haspiel verse, I don't know, whatever. It used to be just like the Red Hook verse.
Oh, come on. Dinoverse.
The Dinoverse, right? So but they're all they may live in the same universe, I'm not sure, but they're all unique to each other, unique to themselves, in terms of what's getting done, what's being accomplished. The stories are not the same. They all have their own flavor, and to put them in this type of an anthology type of thing is great. But also, I really enjoy the fact that you put his head in the middle in front of the logo, because
Thank you. And that was not an easy feat because it's red on red, but because there's a shadow.
no, it works well. Like that's the thing. That was one of the concepts. Like I said, we want to talk about covers. Like that was. I'm always a fan of smearing the logo just a little, just enough that you can still see the logo clearly, but also like don't be too precious that you can't put anything in front of it or behind it.
Oh, totally. Also, like, I mean, Thor number 337, where
Sure.
Beta Ray Bill is destroying the Thor logo, or you got Will Eisner, who every Spirit logo was like part of the infrastructure of the
New
story.
Teen Titans 39.
And what?
New Teen Titans 39.
Oh, did that get destroyed?
Well, no, that's when Robin and Kid Flash stop being Robin and Kid Flash, and their uniforms are hanging off the logo.
Oh, right. That's awesome. Yeah, I love stuff.
Marv did another one like that. He created the series called A Man Called Nova for Marvel,
We've
and
heard of it.
and
I've heard of
and
it.
yeah, you've done a lot of weird stuff with the character that I don't understand, but that's okay. And in the in the beginning, the first issues said, "Here he comes, a man called Nova." And on the last issue, he changed it to "There he goes, a man called Nova."
Mm,
That was
mm.
the last issue. That's because he knew it was the last issue.
It's hard to come up with a. Oh, thanks, Art and Chaos. That's Jen. That's my girlfriend. Thanks, Jen.
Oh,
Um, it's hard to come up with a tagline for Antimatter because it may evolve and change. I almost see it like my own magazine. If I can get it funded, if I can create some kind of momentum.
No, you're
I'd
gonna.
like to try and
This
do it.
is first of all, be confident. This is 100% going to happen, and
Thanks.
I can't wait to get Antimatter Volume 5.
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you.
I'm. You're gonna kill it. You're gonna kill it with this, and it's just gonna keep getting better. This
Thanks.
is.
I already have the next 3 issues lined up of what I want to do with flexibility.
Of course you do.
Because yeah.
That cover is sort of like if Jack Kirby were doing Alex Schomburg covers for Timely.
Oh wow. I'm going to quote you on that.
Yeah, I realize that I just narrowed down the focus to about 8 viewers now.
Don't worry about that.
But if you have no idea what I'm talking about, Google or go to one of the websites that shows you all the covers of Marvel Mystery Tour, Marvel Mystery comics, or any of the Marvel anthologies with those beautiful, very busy, ridiculously anti-Nazi World War II covers.
Oh, they're awesome. I'm looking at them right now. I love them so much. And I love how, and it didn't occur to me until a few years ago that most covers, not this one, Antimatter, but most covers is actually the image is a square image, and a third of the space is the title, basically. And you can invade that title, go behind it, go in front of it, smash it, whatever. But really, your image is actually more of a square. And I kept thinking more, whenever I come up with a cover idea, I was always thinking like a splash page. No. Your cover, the essential part of your cover is a square.
Do you know why there was this theory that was imposed upon creators to not mess with the cover logo, to not obscure the cover logo in any way, the way you did slightly there, or the way that Walter did ridiculously on Thor and beautifully? Comics were marketed in those days, were sold in big cities on little clips over the newsstand, or over whatever box it was where the comics were being sold, or they were dumped in a box on the floor and kids would just go through it. So they wanted the logo as readable as humanly possible and as large as humanly possible. You look back at those old 1940s covers, and literally a third of the cover space was cover logo.
Right.
And
the racks, and when they're racked up in front of each other, sometimes depending on the racks, it's just logo.
Right.
No artwork, even just the logo.
Right. They were careful to change colors.
Right.
Month to month, and I don't know about you, but there aren't a lot of covers whose logo colors I remember from month to month. But
no, but also it's funny whenever I see like the Marvel collections of Thor or Fantastic Four or whatever, Spider-Man, and you do notice like that they are changing sometimes, especially with Thor, they would change the color of the logo. And you would think it might be because they were complementing the colors of the cover. Half the time they didn't care. They were just changing. In case you remembered, last month was yellow, this month it's blue. You know?
Right, which was a good thing, because on the spinner racks of the 1960s and 70s, sometimes the retailer wouldn't police the spinner rack as carefully as he or she should. So there'd be like 3 different issues of Action Comics there.
Right.
So if they're colored differently, then maybe you'll buy all 3.
And I remember back in the day, and Walt Simonson talks about his first issues of Thor. Oh yeah, absolutely. Todd Klein is a master logo.
So,
Actually, can I
so
tell you real quick? I was at Terrificon 2 years ago, and someone comes up to me and wanted me to draw the demon on one of those blank kind of boards that they'd already said, but the top of it was a demon logo
they had,
lettered by Todd Klein, original onto the piece of paper.
so
Like,
so
Really?
I had to draw and not mess up a demon drawing with an actual logo lettered by Todd Klein.
so I mean,
Terrifying.
That's pretty cool. That's
It
pretty
is
cool.
very cool.
I would
Very-
love to see
first of
that.
all, thanks for watching, Mindy, and I agree with you. We didn't have time because we had a third wheel in our opening segment. We were going to talk about the fact that Todd Klein has a new plan on his blog, and I highly recommend going to it. We'll share it in a little bit. But he started to go through. He had done I think he went through a lot. I don't know if he went through everything, but he's kind of started a new thing where he's just doing his logos from A to Z. So today, I think or yesterday, whenever he started it, it was a 2099 logo that he did. So from now on, like next one's going to be actually an A. But please go to Todd Klein's letters and check out his stuff because
And when you say he's going through them, he's talking about like the
talking about how
stories.
he designed it, having all the designs and going through that. Great, it's great stuff.
Great.
He's also priming the pump, which is really important, really critical. People should know why experienced, highly gifted people like Todd make the artistic decisions they make.
Mhm.
If that's sort of the line of work you want to go in, it's critical that you understand what the masters of the form have done.
Right.
Sure.
Totally.
I want to talk a little bit more about the Kickstarter itself
Yeah.
and what the offers are. I just want to say that while we were talking, I just went and changed my pledge so that I can get this because I want this.
Oh,
This is one of the options. This is one of the options with the print version of the book and the digital version of the book, and I'm sure you'll use is probably available as an add-on, which it should be available as an add-on to whatever anybody wants. But this is a print of No Kings, and I just added it to ours. I love this. I think this is a great design, Dino.
Thanks, Bob. Yeah, I did this as we have a show here at my studio space, which is over 100 artists, and Nicholas Cueva curated a show of just skulls, and I did one skull that I could show you maybe on the show here, but actually it's going to tease something for the second issue of Antimatter.
Well, don't then. We'll talk about it later.
All right, we'll talk about it later. But I
Right.
decided to hold that one because I realized, oh, this is actually going to be something for the next issue of Antimatter. And then I was like, well, let me do this other thing. And I was drawing this skull and I was having some wacky fun with it. And I just drawn the top of it. And then went, let me draw the jaw as a broken crown. Right. And then I put that, it's in the show right now, hanging in the gallery with like 160 other incredible skull drawings and paintings and sculptures and dresses and all kinds of stuff. And then I was like, oh wait, this is No Kings. It's a broken skull. And it's also the Red Skull, who was a Nazi fascist, in a lot of ways.
That's perfect.
So then I added the word No Kings, and I had a poster, right? And this sold out at Baltimore Comic-Con. What I brought.
Awesome.
Great. And
Fantastic.
That's cool. That's cool.
because of Saturday's No Kings March and all that stuff,
Oh, great.
And then what I wanted to mention is we talked about COVID Cop briefly, which is going to be the biggest story in the book, but also there's going to be a bunch of Red Hook vignettes, which I'm having fun with. That's going to be coming from some of my comic strips that I've been doing for the Red Hook Star Review here, a local paper. I have AI Joe, and I do want to sneak in some short stories involving Billy Dogman, Jane Legit, and Chessface.
Yeah, no, it's great. And so
then we get a taste of everything. Then we get a taste.
Yeah, no, that's what you got to do. It doesn't have to be all the way. I love the fact that this is going to be this, and I don't, I'm excited about this format for you. I think it's a great. You have so many things to say and so many different options, and it gives you the opportunity to go in so many different directions. And I'm looking forward. Like I said, I can't wait for Antimatter Volume 5. I'm telling you right now.
I appreciate that. And the other thing that the other component that I am missing is the retail component, meaning a Kickstarter, is basically a pre-order with perks that comes to your home, right? Then I have extra copies I sell at a table at a comic event or a comic show, right? Like I just did the last 2 weekends.
I mean,
But what
you
I'm
can add a
missing is
retailer's here, Dino. Just add
I
a
could, but
retailer.
it's not worth it right now. Right now,
Why
and
not?
not to bash. I'm not bashing. I wish I could work for retailers. I wish the optics of my comics could be in the store on the spitter rack, for lack of a better term. It just doesn't make financial sense right now. So
I
maybe
don't.
what would make sense is that I do collect like 3 issues worth of material of like a Red Hook or a COVID Cop or a Chest Face or whatever, and then that becomes a book with a spine for the store. And maybe I'm not publishing that. Maybe I'm working with a publisher. So maybe I'm making my comics and hand over fist sales, which is difficult, and then getting it to you. Because one thing I realized when I said I had become allergic to pitching to publishers is because I'm doing the work they be doing is the same work I'm doing right now.
Right.
And they might have a bigger reach in certain ways, but not always. And then, so I'm taking the risk right now of doing what I think is the best I can, to eventually try to get to a place where I am publishing books at a certain volume. Right now, I'm not doing that at this volume. I might be lucky enough to get at 250 or 300 backers for the initial comic here, but not that's not, I don't know if I could get even 40 orders in a comic shop right now, in total, I'm not sure.
Well, we can have that discussion later.
I want to give you proper credit, true props, for calling this Antimatter and not Dean Haspiel's Comics and Stories. You must have had an urge to do that. Get a little Disney action going.
Or Dean Haspiel presents, like Stan Lee, right?
Yeah, really.
I would say maybe in the indicia, it might be called Dean Haspiel's Antimatter, for the technical title, as it were. But it's Dean Haspiel. What actually the on the cover says something like Dean Haspiel Deep Cuts or something. Like that's what I don't even know what my publishing name is. Oh yeah, there's a one-man anthology of Dean Haspiel Deep Cuts. And the other thing I'm thinking about is I'm trying to avoid numbers. So this was called the spring 2026 issue. The next one would be the fall, hopefully 2026 issue. That way you feel like and they're done in ones. You don't need to have read something before it or after it to enjoy it. I'm very conscious
I gotta say, I love this tagline. Not the cop you want, but the cop you got.
Which is a little ambiguous, right? It's like,
yeah.
Uh-oh, what does that ultimately mean?
And everybody who's watching, if you haven't seen by now, in the comments where you're watching this, or if you're listening to this later, there's a link to the Kickstarter where you can just click
thanks
on
a
it,
lot.
and it'll take you there.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. I am, at this point in my career, in my life, I'm going to sit down at our table and eat dinner once again, often alone, and then get home late at night, where me and my girlfriend literally just wave at each other. I'm up for like another hour or so trying to catch up on my stories. She gets up earlier than I do. If I'm not finding joy in what I'm making, I should just quit right now, because I'm not doing it for the money, although this is what I'm living on. So listen, as much as I used to trade my comics with other people at shows, and that's a standard thing that one does, sometimes I'll furnish some comics to a hero or someone I want to get to know me. But at the end of the day, and I'm so appreciative, if I sell a comic book, that's going to buy me lunch later today, and I need that, so I'm not shy of saying, help, give a crippled crab a crutch, like keep an artist alive, through their work. And that's the risk that we take, that's the risk that we take. I'm not in Hollywood sitting in a room trying to figure out the next t-shirt to sell,
Right. The coolest part, the best part of the whole deal is you're the guy who makes all the decisions about your work. Now, if it doesn't work, if you made a mistake or something, it's on you. You have nobody to blame, which is fair because
Right.
you're taking this all into your own hands. But it is your way. It is the way you want it to be done. If somebody says, no, you can't have red on red, change that to green, you could, that's you telling you that. You know,
Well, and sometimes there are bad ideas, and sometimes there are good ideas, and I'm not averse to keeping a mind open. A couple of things I want to respond to. First of all, what I realized in my this pivot I took a couple of years ago, which has really been hard to live in Brooklyn, where I'm a native New Yorker. I realized that you are my publisher. The reader is my publisher. Okay. Which is like, duh, of course. And then I think about like what makes a good director, the person who leads the show and of a film, is the one that is open to ideas. And there can be 1,000 bad ideas, but you get that one good idea from the guy in craft services, who might be like, oh, hey, what if you did this, since you're asking questions, director? And then to know to take that idea and use it is what makes a good director. So if I want red and someone says no green, I'll be like, well, why green? And maybe they're right. Maybe it would work better. Like we have all famously heard that if you put a gorilla on the cover of a comic book, it sells better. I don't know why, right? But apparently that's some tried and true thing, But I'm not that smart, I'm not that savvy or seasoned. And I love new ideas and I love old ideas, because there's somewhere in the middle when you merge them, you can spawn something that nobody knew that they wanted.
But the reader loves your ideas. Whether
Hopefully.
they know that or not going in. By the time
Right.
they're coming out, they either go, what is this shit? Why did I waste my money? Very
Right.
few people say that, but it does happen. Or they go, wow, this is cool. Give me more. We also sell candy.
Yep.
I'm going to come back to something you said, but also I want to finish up one thing. This is the terrifying image.
Yes.
Oh my God.
I don't know where the head's coming from. It's
great. It's great.
It's so good, but it's so terrifying.
I remember when you said, where you got it. I knew that page, every letter of it in my skull. It has been there for.
I don't want to put it back on. I don't want to put it back on the screen. But it says build a friend.
Build a friend. That's right.
Yeah. We're just a few weeks away from that now.
Oh yeah.
Well, AI,
I was talking to a friend today because they're like, you should make t-shirts. I'm like, I don't want to deal with the different sizes lugging t-shirts. I mean, unless you do a threadless thing and then they just order it. But
yes.
So the No Kings could have been a t-shirt, let's say, sure. But then I've been saying for a while, something about are the billionaires going to be relying on the millionaires to deliver their food once they get rid of all of us, right?
Probably.
And then somebody remind me, no, they're not going to get the millionaires to deliver food to the millionaires. They're going to get the robots to do that.
Oh, that's true.
Because no one can figure out the end game. Like, what is the end game for this preposterous thing things that have been going on, right? I don't think that they're thinking that far ahead. All.
If you want to go there, they're not. They're trying to accelerate the rapture. That's what they want to do. So that they have Armageddon, and then they can just go to heaven and be done with it.
I must point out that there is multiple causation in this world, and it affects everything. It's my religion. There's never one reason or one thing that goes into a decision or into an event or an historical thing. There's a lot of stuff. Multiple causation is critical to remember, but it implies that there is a plan. And the plan on all these people, no matter what their end game is, if they have one, is to acquire as much of everybody's money as they can. They're playing Monopoly, and they're playing blood curling Monopoly.
Mm, mhm, mhm.
I don't like
Yeah.
Monopoly.
Yeah, I got bored of that game.
Yeah.
And there's an origin to that game. It was invented by a woman, I believe, to people who played the game, would teach them about real estate and warn them about what happens.
The
And
problem
then
is
enough people played it in the way that was the commentary of the initial game became how the people played it,
well, what I'm saying, it's no fun. I've played it with someone who played it so that you didn't win.
Mm,
They didn't play so that they won. They just made sure you didn't win,
mhm,
and
mhm,
therefore they would win.
mhm.
So you were playing with friends.
I was playing with a friend. No, this is not. This is the most ruthless game, most ruthless way to play that game, because they would not allow. They would hurt themselves to a certain degree as long as you were hurt more.
Right.
And you can do that, and but that is also what we're seeing today. And okay,
Yeah.
we have shifted commentary.
Sorry.
But like it's fine. It's fine. Listen, you both know where I am, and it is all about it's all about the amount of way people vote in their own disinterest
Mm,
is staggering to me.
mhm, mhm.
I know where you are. You're in Baltimore on furlough,
Yes.
and our president is going to Japan for a week.
As he destroys the White House.
As he's tearing down the White House.
Is that legal? I mean, I know that's a stupid
They
question.
don't care. Nobody cares
really?
anymore.
Yeah.
No, it's not. No, it's not. It should not be illegal. It's illegal to move money to pay salaries. That's illegal.
Yeah.
But nobody's saying anything.
Yeah.
Illegal to not swear somebody in, but nobody's saying anything. There's no this No Kings thing was great, wonderful. All of the people came out, but the leaders of the people who we have elected in many places are the ones who should be out there screaming their heads off, saying you cannot do this, and they are not doing it. I'm sorry.
My man is. So there.
Who is your man?
My man is JB Pritzker. And I own the Pritzker family.
My man is about
They
108
made
years
me
old.
everything I am today, the Pritzker family. They spent millions, literally millions of dollars, their family foundations, on the youth social services programs that I helped create or worked on. All of them. I went to those guys and they gave me millions. And you go around Chicago and other places and you'll see their names everywhere on buildings and museums and universities. So there's one guy out there that's saving our ass.
Okay, that's fair.
Good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Somebody.
I'm looking forward to your new mayor.
Mom Dami, you think?
Yep.
I think so too.
I
Although we're going to lose one of our viewers right now because Mindy and I just got into a slight discussion about it right before this show.
Well, listen. Okay, we won't get upset. We won't go there. So I think she just left. We love you, Mindy. What else? What are the options besides digital and physical? And there's a print.
Oh, you mean the tiers for the awards?
Let's talk about
So, really at the end of the day, I'm a guy who just wants you to read the comic book, buy the comic book and read it.
I mean, listen, I'll go into this just a little bit. When I'm backing a comic, when I'm backing a Kickstarter, I'm going to back at the physical level pretty much every time. Okay, yeah, we didn't lose her. Mindy's still here. She's laughing at us. So thank you. We appreciate that.
Me too.
I'm gonna.
Well, I know Mindy.
What's that?
Do I know Mindy?
Mindy Newell.
Don't you know?
Oh, Mindy Newell. I've met Mindy Newell.
Yeah.
She's great.
Probably
Mindy
a
Newell.
lot. Yeah.
First woman to be credited as writing Wonder Woman.
Really?
Yep.
One of the few truly overlooked great creators of art.
Fair, absolutely fair. I'm gonna back it at the physical level. I want you to print a comic book and give it to me, and I can read it. I will.
Thank you.
You will send me a digital copy that I will never open.
Exactly.
I'll
But-
do the other one.
And I won't either. You know, like, and I did
but-
web comics, and I barely read them, you know, online. So, no,
I
I have
will
like,
read the digital because I'm blind, and I
oh,
put
so
it
you
on
need
my
to,
That's fair too.
on the world's largest iPad,
right,
and
right.
and read it on the subway.
Awesome. Well, yeah, that's good. Sure, man.
Yes.
Like,
Sell some
I
comics.
I have, what do I got here? I got like a No Kings print. I got a Billy Dogma print. You know, I got some prints that you can get that are physical as well. I got there's one perk, and some people have picked this. They get to jump on my podcast that I do once a week with Vito Del Sante,
Nice.
called Vito X Dino. And they get to hop on, and we get to know some of the people, and some of them might be friends, some of them might be, you know, new fans or strangers. Have them on our show and talk to them, and then I have head sketches and Red Hook sketch I can add on a piece of cardboard. I collect a lot of. I feed my cats Fancy Feast, and every box of Fancy Feast, this is wonderful, comes with 3 cardboard, separators.
And that's where they
between the
come from.
cans.
See, I've seen these for years. I did not. Now I know where they come from. They're
And I
fancy.
then will draw on here and send off. I've done this for the last 4 campaigns, I believe. And once in a while, I'll get corrugated, from my Chinese food. I have like sticker. So I got my cat food, cardboard. I got my Chinese food cardboard. Sometimes it's a little smaller, which doesn't necessarily work. You see the edge of another box or something. And then I'll send different drawings off that way. But I have a collection right here for when I need to do this, and it thrills me because I love to draw on cardboard. I don't know why. I wish that they were. There's something about this cardboard that just the way it absorbs my ink and everything. And if it could just be white, so because if you scan it in, you're going to get this, brownish thing. And maybe I should do a comic like this. I don't know. Maybe they'll do something in antimatter. All doors are open for that. What's great about the anthology for me is it's my own salon that I'm putting in print. And if I wanted to do a short story, so prose, I could do that, or add an illustration. If I wanted to do something photo, heavy or something with photographs like a fumetti, or who knows, let me put out some comics first because that's the origin of this is comics. But I'm also a guy that loves all storytelling mediums between theater, movies. Like I mentioned, prose. Hell, maybe I'll write a poem someday.
I mean, let me. I mean, I'm just looking at I'm looking at the back at the reward levels. So there is an option that you've gotten a couple people to do where there's also a full commission, single figure commission along with the book. There's a personal comics consultation.
Oh, right. I can. I've done that in the past where once a week right now, I don't talk about it too much, is I mentor someone, mostly through Google Meet. I was going to say Zoom, but it's Google Meet.
Sure.
And we talk for about an hour and work on their project. And I, give ideas. Say it again.
How is that?
I love it.
It's one thing to with a colleague or a peer where you kind of like look at it, but you don't want to. You want to stand back. You don't want to. You want to kind of give your opinion because they're asking for it, but you also don't want to kind of get in there. But when someone's coming to you where you're in a more of a mentor role where you have more of ability to kind of really give your opinion, is that you like that? Is that
Well,
Is it
have you met?
rewarding for you?
I'm okay with giving out opinions,
Well,
but
I know that.
the teaching part, here comes the good news. I'll sometimes, after we've, established certain uh perimeters of not only teaching but also uh what makes a comic book page, what makes a story, what makes this and that. My favorite thing to do is they'll show me the work, and then I might see something on a page, and I say, before I say anything, do you see what I'm about to say? And then they look at it again with, quote, my eyes, and they're like, oh my god, do you mean on panel 2 where the, yep, there it is. Now they're learning on their own.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And if I could just be hands off and just kind of be an overseer, and then maybe, shape the goalposts a little bit here and there. I'm not there to write and draw their comic. Okay. But sometimes I will suggest a layout alternative. And then we can talk about that. But my favorite thing is when they see it after I just say, what do you think I'm about to say? Then they're learning on their own.
Our greatest responsibility, everybody's greatest responsibility, once they hit a certain level of experience and they have really know what they're doing, not everything, just what they're doing. Our greatest responsibility is to pass it on, is to mentor. Our greatest obligation is to mentor. Mentoring, I've- we've all mentored people because all of us are over like 18. So we've acquired some level of
Yeah.
experience. Pass it on. Don't let it die with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's our highest
I
calling.
and I respond to people. Maybe I'm codependent or something, or I just love being around people in general. Uh, but I respond better to people who are willing to share and give than those who hold things tight as if they
Yeah,
have this great secret. I'm like, really? What's your big secret? What are you holding back? You're holding back yourself. Stop being so insecure. We all have insecurities and anxieties, and getting older, one of the great things about getting older, if you can, pay for food and where you sleep, is that kind of freedom of being more of who you are. Uh, if you can get there, and I'm not saying I'm totally there, but the older I get, the more I'm like, what am I afraid of? You know.
yeah, yeah,
Thanks, Sharon.
absolutely. The when I turned 60, my sister, who was 67 at the time, told me that, have you noticed that the older you get, the less you're willing to fight certain things, more you're willing to fight others. But there's a growing list of stuff you just don't care as much about anymore. Yes, I did. I noticed it then. I really notice it now. So if somebody asks me a question or I'm in a dialogue about creativity or whatever, my response is the pure truth as I see it,
Mm-hmm.
because I've got nothing to lose.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And even if the person I'm talking with disagrees or doesn't understand, then I have to work. But if they disagree, fine. They'll have
Also,
that. They'll have that other perspective in their head.
absolutely, and also, to be kinder and to just be excited that somebody made something. People don't make something because they've been told they can't or whatever, or they tell themselves they can't. So if someone's actually showing me something, they've already won by making it. Like,
That's right.
if you want to criticize it and figure out what's Danny, is true. Danny Figueroa has always encouraged me to be a teacher. And I was like, no way. And I don't know if it was Danny that got me to do like a layout class at the Society of Illustrators, or I think he was. But and he said to me at the end of it, you're a natural teacher. And I never thought of myself as a teacher,
No, I
ever.
do. I mean, the thing is, what makes you a good teacher is that you have the ability to translate the incredible thing that you do with your hands into words, and that's what's hard, especially for art teachers.
And that's what she said. No, The ability to articulate is key, and I grew up with parents that are great storytellers and very articulate. I grew up around actors. I've grown out around people who have to communicate and articulate ideas. So I've been very privileged in that way, and a big
That's
ups
what
to
also
Danny
makes you.
Figueroa.
That's what all makes you a great cartoonist, because not only can you write, not only can you draw, and you kind of started drawing, but you're a good writer. You're a fantastic writer. I
Thank you.
am always thrilled to read your work.
Thank you.
Did you have something you wanted to share with Danny, or we are getting close, and he's getting, it's late.
At the as I was going to Baltimore, so I was leaving for Baltimore, Danny had mentioned to me, because we're trying to arrange we're trying to arrange a deli date.
Nice.
Oh God, yes. He said, "What? Tell the people over in Baltimore to invite me." He wanted, and yes, sure. So on one of the panels I was doing this weekend in Baltimore, Louise Simonson, one of the greatest human beings ever to walk the earth,
Absolutely.
mentioned Danny by name. We talked a little bit about Danny. So I said, and it's damn well timed that they invited Danny to this show. Made a big deal about it. Now, I don't know if that's going to get him anything, but I did what Danny asked.
Well, I'll pass it along too.
I did it with pride. Did he jump? Is he still
I don't
there?
know. I wasn't there. He's here.
Oh,
No, he's here.
No,
He's
here. Oh, good. Well, good.
I will.
I
I think that's fair. I thought he had been there once, but he should be here more. I agree with you. I think he would be a great addition to the people.
He's got my vote. I mean, we should just let the folks know. Bring on Danny. Why
That's
not?
right.
And he's a good moderator too, so he can also help
perfect here, because he did
moderate
it.
some panels.
It's thank you. So it's perfect.
Wow, we just rendered him speechless.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Well, we are all in agreement.
Yes, of course. This has been. Listen, we don't get to see Dean shirtless tonight. Unfortunately, you've all disappointed me.
I could send you right now.
We're
I don't
getting
remember.
close.
I don't remember doing this, but I could send you right now. Well, I got 10 pictures. I could send you one that Chris Miskevich took of me. I think it was either Friday night or Saturday night after Ringo Awards. That might appease.
No, you don't have to send me pictures. Were you
sure?
Was this in public? Because I don't remember that. Listen, I had a.
Oh yeah, this isn't like in a hotel room. This was like on the deck next to the bar cafeteria we were at.
I wasn't.
Yeah.
I had to drink.
Well, Dean, if we're not going to get your shirt off, can we at least have like a little nipple or something? Come on.
No, we don't. Listen, this is a family show, sort of.
It's a family show, is it?
It's definitely a family show, but it's
What about
not a kid show.
Is non-family.
Is there a non-family section? Well, first of all, families should be allowed to see
Of course,
everything and anything.
Listen,
They do anyway, no matter
my
what.
family, it's a whole different story.
Hold on. Are you able to take things from your phone?
Yeah, you can send it to my phone.
Yeah, I'll send you some.
Actually, I have this. My computer has become way more friendly to my phone lately. So
all right, I think I just sent you something. And
I'll see if I can get it up. But
and again, I shouldn't be taking off my shirt at age 92 that I'm currently dealing with broken legs and hurt backs and busted arms, and that's another reason why I need to crowdfund this campaign.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
because we're not going to have any medical insurance next year. I think
next year we're not going to have any medical insurance next month.
Next month, jeez, come on, people.
That's when the letters go out.
Oh man, yeah. Mike, what's on you're done with cons.
Oh, you
this-
know, what?
this
I have
year,
one
right?
question. I'm sorry, Dean. Can you give me just 1 second?
Oh,
'Cause
sure,
I
sure,
I
sure.
do have one question about you. But and it's about the Kickstarter process. Well, first of all, I can share. Hang on. There you go. There we go. This was this weekend.
Ah,
See, we got it.
Yeah.
okay.
There we go.
You got nothing
All right.
to worry
So
about there.
anyway, when you do this, what is your print run? I'm just curious, like, because you've been doing this for a while. You
Right.
build out a certain you've played with it enough that you have an idea of what works for you.
So yeah.
And when
I
you
use
when you do it and you make it, then
Yeah.
you have that's it, right? Like, so there, do you ever go back to print on your own?
I've not done a second printing of anything, although I'm so low on Billy Dogma that if I get more orders than I have, I'm gonna have to do a little bit of a print run. But the most I've printed is 1,000 copies. That was the first COVID cop.
Okay.
And then after that, it's been between like 750 and 600. So I do maybe double basically of my pre-orders, and then I have another bunch, right? And then I do some mailing through, afterwards, so that you can just directly Venmo me or whatever, and I'll mail it to you. When I talk about it, I have an Etsy store. I have books for the table, but ultimately, I do kind of want these to quote sell out because they are collector's items. They are luxury items. I never call it that, but that is indeed what they are, which is why I charge $15 for a cover, a 24-page comic, because it's not a Marvel and DC comic. It's this kind of collector's luxury item.
Yeah.
Eventually, like I said, I'll have there'll be tentacles that will become books of collections of these different characters, because I have a lot of stories. I have 3 books in the docket right now. I have my semi-autobio collection that would comprise Beef with Tomato, with Opposable Thumbs, with other kind of autobio stories I've done. That's a book. I have a Billy Dogma collection of like Fear My Dear, plus a bunch of other stuff I've done, including the book that my deep cut book. I have maybe 800 pages or more of the Red Hook.
Ah,
Okay. Like,
really?
it's insane because I did 4.5 seasons on Webtoon. And
I mean,
so,
there's I don't you could have an omnibus, like one of these giant omnibus.
absolute omnibus or 2 or a slipcase worth of omnibus. Like I could do a Dean Haspiel library if I wanted to. I'm not confident that I have enough fans or dedicated loyal fans
You need
that
to
would yield that.
part of that is I think some of this is conversations we should have off the air.
It's more of a business thing that no, I agree.
No, but
I agree.
And then sell it. We should tape it and then sell it.
There you go. There you go. Behind the
That's
scenes.
fair.
You know what my favorite part of Red Hook is?
What's that?
The name.
Yeah.
Because for those of you who are not familiar with Brooklyn, where do you live, Dean?
So I live in Carroll Gardens, but my studio where I'm at right this minute is in Red Hook.
There you go.
How far
That's
is that? How far is it?
A 7-minute bike ride, a 15-minute walk.
Okay.
In fact, this morning as I was getting on my bike and turning the corner, I keep bumping into Michelle Fife, who moved back to Brooklyn recently.
So I also didn't know you had worked with him, because when your thing was going through, I forgot that piece was that you'd worked with him on that before.
Oh yeah, he was at Activate.
Yeah.
Originally a long time ago, and he did a comic called Panorama.
Mm-hmm.
And then he veered into Zegas, and then eventually Copra.
Yeah.
He was an assistant of mine on a couple of like graphic novels for about a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
And he's great. And then he it's funny, he always wrote and drew what he does today.
Mm-hmm.
And he had to. I mean, and I would try to help, with editors and stuff, and he literally like knocked the walls down, with his style and his sensibility, and actually is one of the people that inspired me to do Kickstarters, because it's nerve-wracking, and why do you want to deal with all this, the headache of it, but he started off that way.
It is part of the role of an independent creator and somebody who is not working for somebody else. And, part of that process is, you have the ability to do the things you're doing. You're telling your stories the way you want to tell them. There's a give and take to all of the decisions you make, right? You, by doing that, you get all the creative authority and everything you want to do. By working for somebody else, there's a give that you get from that, but is it worth it to you? And it's not. If you've made that determination at plus 50 that this is what I need to do, this is the stories I need to tell, and that's where you are.
But this is the thing. Like, if I could run an idea by a Mike Gold, or I'm talking to Jimmy Palmiotti about how to kickstart, like, I am getting literal gold from very experienced masters of the business and the form, right? Yeah, you'll bump heads with certain people, maybe over sensibility, or maybe they're just not seasoned yet at their job. I always think about how I would love to have worked with an Archie Goodwin, but I got to work with some great editors. I definitely have, and I've learned always. So I'm not against that. And collaboration has been very important for me as an author, to what to do, what not to do, to push yourself, challenge yourself, and create things that you never would have written for yourself to draw, as it were. And I'm very conscious of all of that. So, like, sometimes when I hear, like, well, I get to do what I want to do, and you just all like, you're so cool.
And I didn't mean
you're saying that, but I do see that a lot. And I'm always like, okay, cool. I'm glad you're so great and fully formed. But trust me, I am super aware of all the people that have either uplifted me, validated me, or gave me wisdom. Okay. Which is why it is, like Mike said, very important to pay it back, or to mentor, to give it back. And what do I have to say? What do I've learned as a person that worked in print comics when there was newsstands? I don't know if I have as much to offer kids today, but I have something to offer, and hopefully entertainment is one of them.
The physical media is not the be all end all. It's the storytelling process that you have so much to offer. Like, a story gets told, doesn't matter that it's in a paper, on Baxter paper, or newsprint, or just digitally. So you slide the pages over from this to that, or you go piece to piece. The point is, can you tell a story from panel to panel that makes somebody want to look at the next panel?
That's right.
That's what's important to me. I mean, that's the most important thing to me. But I respect that people that also, there's a tactile experience we're talking about as well. And, maybe I'll get to that space, but I'm much more concerned about what you just said, Bob, which is, how do you earn the next panel? Why? And can you create a seamless experience that engages someone, and then they walk away having read something that meant something?
My idea of a perfect story that I'm reading is, if somebody interrupts me in the middle of my reading that story, I get angry. And that doesn't always happen. Sometimes it's like I put it down and I do whatever else I have to do. The most important lesson you can share with a person trying to come into the field, the person who's learning the craft, the most important lesson is how to persevere. Comics is like any other form of show business, and believe me, comics is show business. You could be working at it for 30 years and be the next overnight sensation.
Sure.
Right. Absolutely.
Listen, I mean,
absolutely.
I will tell you that what you've done over the past 5 years, 6 years, has been some of the best work you've done, and I think you've really defined your legacy in ways that you had.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And
you've
that's the thing. You hope
better.
Wait, what?
You've also entertained the hell out of me.
Sure.
Oh,
absolutely.
And I'm talking about me here, so that's high praise.
and there's another 20 years at least to go. So.
Oh yeah. Well, and like I said, I better enjoy what I'm drawing, because I'm not drawing as much as I used to because I do love writing more. And like I'll sit here all day avoiding drawing a page, but I'll write like a 6-page scene for a play like it's nothing, you know.
I mean, we're running out of time, but have you ever thought of writing for somebody else to draw in the comic
You
form?
know, I would consider that because one of the things I think about is right now I've had the honor of people reaching out to me as of yesterday saying, "Hey, are you open to being an artist on my project?" And they barely tell me what the project is about, or maybe they do, and maybe it's brilliant. But my thing right now that I've told myself and I'm trying to honor is that I have too many stories that I want to write and draw first. Okay.
Sure.
But I will be open to, and this is a weird thing, and I was talking to someone at Baltimore about this. If you want to take a franchise character, Marvel, DC, Archie, whoever, and we can pitch an idea and sell it, and I'll get paid well and take some time away from my personal pantheon of paramours and protagonists. Uh, but what it does is it allows me to play with other toys for a little while, collaborate, work with a publisher that's going to get a lot of optics on it, hopefully, and you know, allow an audience that might like that stuff to then go, what else does this guy do? You know?
Right.
Yeah.
And yeah, I have a bunch of stuff I've done, but where is all that stuff now? I don't know. Is it, you know, is there a copy on a shelf somewhere in a bookstore? I don't even know anymore. So
Yeah, there is.
you're only as good as your last gig in some ways, you know, and you
But
know,
you really want every once in a while, if you've been working hard and on your own stuff, every once in a while, I think it might be important to some folks to just step out of that for a moment, recharge your batteries, do something completely different for somebody else where you don't have to worry about those particular pressures. You can just have some fun doing something that's not yours. That's not
right,
who you are, but that's an occasional thing, and it can be
right,
really cool.
right.
It could be really cool.
Yeah, my uh not regret, but when I'm hired to draw, gratefully, I'm hired to draw a 10-page Superman story, for instance. And I'm like, I don't know what my Superman looks like. Like, and I'm about to draw 10 pages of Superman, and it'll be something that like works, I guess. But you know, I'm not, you know, I kind of know what my thing looks like because I like to draw the thing. And I kind of been playing around with a Batman idea in terms of sketches and just hanging out and stuff. But otherwise, you get hired for a gig, and we live in a world right now where you're not trying to, you know, Kirby did not establish, you know, like they did back in the day to draw it like, you know, on model as it were. You are being asked to like bring your A game and express yourself through this character. And most of the time, I don't have a visual take on a character. I might have more of a written take, to be honest. But
Well,
to
that's what
draw
I'm saying.
something,
I think that's
yeah,
something you should.
Let me remind you out there in viewer land that Steve Ditko drew a story in a Wonder Woman annual. Now, if you were to list all the people in alphabetical order of people you wouldn't think of as ever drawing a Wonder Woman story, Steve would probably be on that list.
hmm
So, what would your Superman look like? It would look like your Superman. I want to see that.
right, right.
Well, it's
Well,
an action. It was an
Yeah,
action. You did it. Yeah.
yeah.
no, it was a Kal El returns to Earth type
Oh,
one
it was
shot.
good.
Anyway,
I liked it. I enjoyed it. I love the fact that I was able to open a Superman book and you were in it. So,
thank you.
Thanks, Danny, for being here. We're about to wrap up.
Thanks, Danny.
I want to remind everybody
Thanks, Mindy.
to go
Thanks,
ahead
Mindy.
and back this book. Like I said, I have no doubt he's going to blow through this. He's got another. It's halfway done. He's almost there. Please go back it. There's plenty of really, really cool options. The simple ones are great, but the No Kings poster is definitely the tier that you want to go for, as far as I'm concerned.
Thank you. Thank you.
Dean, anything else you want to grab real quick before we let you go?
No, I think I'm good. Thank you so much once again, guys. It's always easy and a pleasure to talk to you guys about the industry,
We
about
appreciate you being here.
form. And thanks a lot, guys. So
Our door is always open to you, Dean.
All right. Thanks, Dean. We'll talk to you soon.
All
thanks,
right.
guys.
Take it easy.
All right, folks.
One of my favorite people on earth, and that's been true for decades.
Absolutely. A true friend. Somebody I look forward to talking to whenever I have the opportunity. I want to remind everybody that we mentioned earlier, but next week we'll be back here Tuesday, October 28th at 8 o'clock. Kat Kalamia and Phil Falco, the creative force behind Lifeline Comics, which is an industry unto itself on Kickstarter, are going to be here. They have a new Kickstarter that they're running right now, at least one. They just won a Ringo Award for best anthology this year. I am very excited for you to meet them. They are wonderful people, and I've known them for years now, and I'm looking forward to you having some conversation with them, to be honest with you.
Folks, thanks for listening to us babble for this past hour and 45 minutes. It gives my life meaning.
All right,
That's
folks.
true, actually.
We will see you next week. We will see you the week after that. Every Tuesday, we will be here at the Pop Culture SquadCast Live. I want to remind everybody, read more comics. They're good for your soul. And we'll see you later.
All right.
This has been a production of the Pop Culture Squad Network. PopCultureSquad.com. How do you nerd?